Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yuli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And today's video is just going to be a little updates one. I realised I haven't actually done kind of a general plant updates video in a while, and I've got quite a lot going on with my plants. I've got some really exciting things, I've got some interesting things, and so yeah, I thought I would share them with you. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So before I get on with the updates, I just quickly wanted to let you guys know that I have got merch. I'm really excited about it. Lots of planty things. So if you're interested, then I will leave the link down below. But the first plant update, this room is an absolute state at the moment. I'm leaving for the plant swap tomorrow and I've just taken a load of cuttings, so it's a bit of a mess in here. But the one that I do have to show you here, and then I will take you around to them, is my ALOCASIA green shield. And this is the one that I got off Emma, and it had been living on top of her cabinet, and the leaves that it did have when I first got it were really quite kind of long and bending over, and I had to stake it to keep it upright. And it gave me this leaf, which is, oh my goodness, just blow your mind beautiful. It doesn't even look real. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And it's also just given me this leaf as well. And I'm so incredibly excited about this. I honestly think this might be my favorite type of alocasia in my collection. I think it's just so gorgeous, like that dark veination, and it's kind of not as defined as certain other plants. Like for example, if you think of Alocasia frida, it's got beautiful white veination, but it's very kind of like, I don't know, jagged and kind of like defined. Whereas this, it's almost just like, I don't know, it's almost like a painting or something. I just think it's gorgeous. And yeah, as I say, this is a plant that's bringing me so much joy at the moment. And I know my favourite plants kind of alternate quite a bit, but I would say in the time that I've had this plant, which I think I'm right in saying it's probably about 4 or 5 months now, I think. I'll put the date on the screen. But I would say it's up there with my favourite plants right now. I'm just in total awe of it. I think the colour of it is so kind of luminous and bold and statementy, and the size of the leaves as well, like even that one is just a baby one, and like they're huge. That's it compared to my face. They're really, really big. So yeah, I don't think this is a particularly expensive alocasia to buy nowadays. And if you don't have one, I would highly recommend it. It has brought a lot of joy into my life. So yeah, that is the first plant update. And that is the only space I had on the table because the table is full of cuttings. So I'm gonna take you off the tripod and I'm gonna take you around and show you some other bits. So the first thing that you might have already noticed is that my grow light setup has changed. And if you're on my Patreon, you will know the story of the cabinet. I know it looks a little bit ridiculous. I'm really not a fan of the purple lights, and I think it looks a little bit like a rave room. But basically I came in this morning and the lights that were on my cabinet there and there had just completely packed up. I tried everything. I could not get them working. And I go away tomorrow for 3 days. And I obviously didn't want my plants to be without light for that period because I've got some really, really special plants in here that I absolutely adore. So this is just kind of a temporary setup. And I've also popped some tin foil on the back of the cabinet as well, so that any natural light coming in can just kind of reflect. The plants can get more of a 360 light. But I will come back to some updates on my cabinet in a minute. The other thing over here is, I mean, to be honest, this room does get very good light, but my white princess has been suffering a little bit, which I've been very, very sad about. Here in the UK, we've had about a week now of really bad weather, and this room has, I mean, even this room has been so dark. And because her leaves at the top, oh, I'm ducking under a leaf to try and show you, because her leaves at the top are so big now, they really kind of shelter the bottom leaves, and the bottom leaves were starting to turn a little bit. I did actually lose one of the leaves, so I've just got this, again, I think I got this off Amazon, and I will link it down below. But yeah, I've just put them kind of shining onto the bottom leaves to hopefully help keep it a little bit happier. I'm not planning on running those grow lights every single day, but just while the weather is awful, I'm just going to kind of turn them on and off as needed. But right, let's go back to the cabinet because there's some really exciting things happening in here. Just moving some stuff out. That is the current state of the table. So my Anthurium regale that I got at the Rare Plant Festival and I was absolutely in love with, I did make a video about this, I can't remember if it was for YouTube or Patreon actually, but I made a video where I showed that the leaf had completely turned. I had to chop it back, and this is what it's been looking like ever since. And I have been absolutely gutted because it was a wish list plant for, oh my goodness, years and years and years. And pretty much the second day after I got it, I had to chop off its biggest and best leaf. However, in the last few days, it started pushing out a new one, and I honestly cannot even explain how excited I am about that. I think the cabinet is just doing really fantastic things for it. I have got it right under my mother grow light in there, and it does, I was going to say it seems happy. It has not seemed happy until recently, but the fact that it's now doing something for me is very encouraging and is making me very excited. And next to it is an update that I guess is a bit of a sad update. So my beautiful variegated alocasia frydek that, oh my goodness, again, if you watch my other videos, you will know how obsessed I am with this beautiful plant. I think it is just the most gorgeous thing in the world. It was pushing out a new leaf, and I was very excited about that. But as you can see, it's now just pushing out a stem because the leaf started unfurling, and literally within a day, it had just wilted away to pretty much nothing. It was almost like brown paper, and I mean, there was nothing I could do. I just had to take it off. But I'm really hoping that when that next bit comes up, that will start giving me some new growth, because as I say, it's such a stunning plant. I really am quite obsessed with it, and I would love to get it going as kind of big and full as I possibly can. And then, it's getting a little bit crowded in here, I know. I need to move, and then I need to get my new cabinet set up. Also, I know a lot of you have been asking about the move and when it's happening and when it's not. And I've kind of touched on it in other videos, but it's just, the last few little bits are proving to be very, very difficult, and it's still happening. It's just taking much longer than I would have expected. So it could be next week, it could be next month. I just currently do not know. But anyway, my Philodendron PARAISO VERDE, this was a wishlist plant for ages. I only got it fairly recently. It has given me a new leaf in the time that I've had it. However, I'm very scared that the variegation is already pretty much gone. And I know that they can revert very, very easily. And I was really worried about that. And I literally put it straight in my cabinet. It's got really good heat. It's got really good light. It's got really good humidity, and I'm scared that it's reverted. So I guess with the next leaf, I'll be able to kind of get a better gauge of that. And I can't really, I mean, it is pushing out a new leaf, but I can't really tell yet. It's too soon to tell. And I'm not going to risk getting in there and trying to help. So keep your fingers crossed for me, because I don't want it to revert. But yes, and then going down to this shelf, which again, I know is incredibly crowded. And I also know that that grow light there looks awful. I couldn't fit it. I can't explain, I can't speak today. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't fit it straight across because the wire wouldn't reach. That's what I was trying to say. It's not a high heat producing one, so it will be okay. It just looks a bit naff. But the ALOCASIA JACKLYN that I got for my birthday, let me just put it out so I can show you it. I hadn't actually gauged how amazingly it was doing until I took everything out of my cabinet today to redo the grow lights. But look at the size of it already, considering it was really quite tiny when I first got it. I can't believe how much it's grown. Like, I'll put it on the table so you can kind of get a proper gauge. But just look at the size of it. It's just blown my mind. I know alocasia can be quite fast growing, but I think the thing that I'm most impressed with is just kind of how its leaves have actually sized up. Like, those leaves were a lot smaller when I showed you her, and that was only a few weeks ago now, which is just, oh my goodness, it's just absolutely crazy. And then at the back of my cabinet as well, I'm not going to attempt to get everything out. I'll just move that leaf so I can show you. But my Anthurium SP Limon is loving life on the pole. And look at those aerial roots. They're just crazy. But it is also giving me a new leaf, and I'm super excited. God, I hate these grow lights. It's really annoying. You can't kind of see the proper colours of the leaves. I'll get it out. Oh God, go on then, I'll get it out now. There we go. It's just me being lazy. But look at that. How beautiful is that? And yeah, I'll put it down again so I can actually show you, but already you can see the aerial roots. Like, look at that coming straight through the back of the pole. It's really gripping on. It's doing so well, and I'm so proud of this plant. I just, like, look at those leaves. They are just so incredibly perfect. And again, seems so happy in there. It's growing faster than any of my anthuriums. I know it's very different to a lot of my anthuriums, but it's one that's just making me very happy. So I'm just gonna very carefully pop it back in. And another very exciting update down here, my Anthurium WAROQUEANUM, my Queen Anthurium, another one that had been on my wish list for a very long time, and I know can be quite slow growing, is giving me a new leaf. And honestly, I can't explain how excited I am about this. I saw that leaf starting to come up about a week ago, and I've got to say it hasn't changed much yet, but the fact that she is giving me growth just makes me so happy, because I did have this plant I think about a year ago, and it came from a dodgy seller, and it arrived with lots of issues and it didn't make it. So I'm just so pleased that mine's doing so well now. And her leaves, I mean, just the texture, I don't know, the velvetiness of them and the beautiful, beautiful veination, I'm just absolutely obsessed with. And I feel very proud of her. I feel very proud that she's doing so well and that I am being a good plant parent to her. So yeah, those are the most exciting updates. Exciting? I mean, things that are going on in the cabinet. And then my Monstera, I always want to call it a Monstera Pinnatipartitia, but I know it's actually Pinnatipartita, I think it is giving me some really, really crazy growth. And I know a lot of you guys said that I should get this one on a moss pole and it would start to fenestrate. And although, yes, I'm sure that probably would be the best thing for the plant, I've got to say I kind of just like how it's growing now. I kind of dream of having it climbing up a wall or something like that, because I mean the size of its leaves, I don't know if you can really gauge, but I mean they're really big, especially compared to anything like pothos or any kind of conventional hanging plant. And I know that is probably why it is not a conventional hanging plant, but it's just so robust looking, and it looks so vibrant at the moment. And I don't know why. This is one that it just really fell under my radar for a while. I really wasn't that bothered by it. I actually thought about chopping it up at one point and sending out cuttings, but all of a sudden I'm just like, no, I love you, never leave me. And it's funny that, isn't it? It's funny how you can sometimes go from having a plant that you're a bit like meh about falling in love with it. And I have a newfound love for this plant. And actually on that note as well, I've got another one that I could say the same about. My Philodendron Golden Dragon. This is one that, again, I was going to chop up and take to the plant swap, and I have taken my cuttings. I'm going to try not to show you that side of the table because I'm going to be making a video on it. But I decided not to chop her because actually in the last couple of months, I'd say in the last month, there's something about her that's just really, really growing on me. And I don't know, like I used to love this plant when I saw it in other people's houses, but for some reason, I just wasn't really feeling it with mine. And it's not even about new growth with this plant because she hasn't given me a huge amount of new growth. It's just, that's just something that's changed. And now I think she's wonderful, and I'm not going to be chopping her anytime soon. So that is a turnaround, isn't it, guys? And also I just had to include the newest leaf on my Monstera. My goodness, she is just so beautiful, and I'm always so grateful anytime this plant gives me a new leaf. But this one, it just blew my mind. Like, look at the size of that, and look at all that secondary fenestration as well. It is just so gorgeous. And I love Monstera is a plant that I feel like my love for it will never die. Like, there are some plants that I occasionally go off a little bit. This one has just been like a solid, constant favourite in my life for a very long time, and it's a popular houseplant for a reason. But here is one that is not doing quite so well. This is ALOCASIA Pink Dragon, and it's nice. I really like it. It's just, it doesn't seem very happy, and I don't know why. And it's growing in pon, and so this is one of the ones I got from Emma, and she always raves about growing ALOCASIA in pon. She gets on really, really well with it. I just don't have that much luck, to be honest. And I'm thinking I probably will switch it over to soil and see if it does any better, because as you can tell, there's just kind of, my hands will stop shaking and the camera will focus. Nope, I'm gonna have to put it down. There we go. You can see it's just got a lot of discoloration around the top. It's browning and the edges of it are yellowing. And usually in my experience, that tends to be due to a watering imbalance. And I think that is just because I haven't been able to strike the right balance with pon for ALOCASIA. So yeah, I need to change things up for that plant because I'd love it to do well. I think when I see pictures of it as a full plant, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and my little one is just not doing anything for me right now. And another ALOCASIA that is very sadly giving me grief at the moment is my ALOCASIA Polly, and she's just, I mean, literally in the last week come up with all of these kind of yellowy brown patches, and I know they can be caused by a few things, but I think what's probably happened is I let her dry out way too much. I gave her a really, really big drink, and I have a feeling it might be root rot related. I am going to have to obviously get her out, have a proper good look at the roots, and if she needs to be treated, then treat her, because she is a fairly sensitive plant. I mean, alocasias can be quite sensitive in general. They can be quite dramatic, but I've had this with a plant before, and it did turn out to be root rot. So that is on the agenda. She's gorgeous. I do really love her, but there is definitely some work to be done here. And just a little mini update, my fishbone cactus, which is, I would say, probably my favourite hanging cactus. It's so weird, it's so wonderful. I really, really, really adore it. It's trying to flower for me, and it's never done this before, and I didn't even really think it was that mature to start producing flowers. I've only had it about a year, and it was teeny tiny when I first got it, but yeah, it's flowering at 2 points. So I'll post some pictures of it when it does flower, because I think it's just going to look absolutely beautiful. But yes, so that's that one, and I could go on and on as always, but I'm going to end with one that I talk about a lot at the moment because it's making me insanely happy. My Monstera dubia. This plant, I mean, it's growing at the speed of light, and I am just so amazed by its growth structure. I'm so amazed by the fact that its leaves are like doubling up in size almost every single time. Like, look at the size of that leaf. And that one only unfurled, I think, about 4 or 5 days ago, and already it's giving me another one. So, I mean, I only put it on the new plank about a couple of months ago, and that plank is as tall as me. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to get it on a new one at some point fairly soon. And I guess I could chop and propagate it, but I'm just so in awe of how it's growing. And when I do move, I just dream about having it kind of climbing all the way up the ceilings. And I don't know, what would you guys do? Would you chop it? I'm really, really uncertain and really unsure, and I really don't want to. But yeah, let me know what you would do. But yeah, those are, I really could go on and on. I've got a lot of things happening. That's not all of the good, that's not all of the bad. That's just some that I felt like were worth mentioning. But I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.